I am upstairs in my room again, and you can tell I haven't made my bed, have I? Because guess who's in it? Boo, she's just pretending to be asleep.
You know what? I don't feel like making my bed right now. Boo's in it anyway. You know what I feel like doing? What do I always feel like doing? I feel like reading a book. And I feel like reading to you. Should we do that? Okay.
It's called My Grandma Has Black Hair. It's by Mary Hoffman and Joanna Burroughs. My grandma is not at all like the grannies in the books I read. Storybook grannies have wispy white hair tied up in a bun on top of their heads. Looks like they also have canes and black cats, and they live in a little cottage. And they wear a long dress with an apron and a shawl, right? I like that granny. My grandma has curly black hair, and she wears it loose. One day I asked her if it was really white, and she got angry. Grannies in stories sit knitting in their rocking chairs. My grandma can't knit for beans. She made me a sweater once, and it was too short, with arms as long as a gorilla's. My grandma usually sits on the floor. Grandmothers are supposed to be wise and dignified. My grandma is silly. Once she got locked in the bathroom, and instead of shouting for help, she climbed out of the window in her bath towel. Whoops! Looks like someone saw her. Looks like it's the neighbor. In stories, grandmothers are always wonderful cooks who bake their own bread and cookies. My grandma can't even make toast without burning it. Sometimes I wish my grandma was more like the ones you get in fairy tales. The kind of granny who wears a lacy nightcap and looks very sweet and kind. I don't think my grandma would let herself be eaten by a wolf. Look what she's doing. She's chasing it away with a vacuum cleaner. That's effective. My grandma won't be called Grandma, or Granny, or Nana. She says it makes her feel old. So we call her Sylvia. She is my mom's mom, but my mom is much more sensible. She says Sylvia's a little nutty. Our school did a project on grannies. We were supposed to bring pictures of them when they were babies and things they used to use, such as curling tongs. When I told my grandma, she said I could take her hot rollers if I liked. Do you know what those are? Those are curlers. There they are. Sylvia doesn't really understand about being a gran. She should be quiet and comfortable with a pet cat for company. But Sylvia drives a noisy old car, and her only pet is a very rude parrot. But there's one thing that grannies and books do that my grandma does too. She tells wonderful stories. Not the usual kind, because when she was a little girl, she lived with the circus. My great-grandma and great-grandpa were trapeze artists. They live in Italy now, but my grandma has all great-grandma's sequined costumes in her wardrobe. She let me wear the pink one once. When I tell Sylvia she's not like a storybook grandmother, she just laughs. She says, "Well, Flower, I'm not going to change, so the books'll have to." My grandma lives with my grandpa, but that's another story. The end. I like this book.
What did you think? I like that book. It's fun. I like the grandma in that book. You know, growing up, I thought grandmas were like the storybook grandmas. The ones with the long dresses and the apron and the gray hair, and they knit socks and bake cookies and lived in a little cottage. That's the kind of grandma I wanted to be growing up. I had a grandmother that was kind of like that. I also had a grandmother that was kind of like the other one. I like to think I'm a little bit of both. I know how to knit and crochet and bake cookies. I also have a rude parrot. Can you hear her downstairs? And I would chase that wolf away with my vacuum cleaner. And every summer, I live with the Renaissance Festival. And that's like being with the circus. I'm a lot like that other grandmother. It's okay.
How about you? Do you have a grandma? Do you have more than one? Is your grandma like this one? Or like this one? Or like a combination of both?
Of course, there are all sorts of grandmas, aren't there? Some are in between. They have a very big job to do, and they do it well. I love being a grandma, and I hope I do my job well. We'll read again, okay? And until next time, I love you tons. And what do we do now? We get ready to catch a kiss. You ready? It's a little one. Oh, got it. Good.